Although I was kind of running the ship, I pulled in my partner in crime, the ever so talented Mr. Dave Weeks, and he co-produced the album with me. He's also playing guitar on the record, but he was in the co-producer chair along with me. And I was lucky to have Dave Weeks there with me, being co-pilot, to be able to talk with him about some musical stuff, because he has so much experience in that. I couldn't have done it without him. It was a real strong partnership. And although I was running the ship, he was right there for questions and assistance and direction and guidance when I needed. And some of it was me shooting from my own hip, me just trusting my instinct and saying, no, I want to go this way and this is what we're doing. So it was a real combination of that. Wouldn't have learned what I learned if I hadn't done that. So from that point on, it was about picking the right studio, and I checked out a bunch of different studios in the Bay Area. We after talking it over with Dave, we kind of leaned in toward Laughing Tiger, which is in San Rafael, and it's run by Ari Rios. And it's a really wonderful space, and it had a grand piano as well as B3. And I kind of wanted to throw some B3 down on a few of the tracks, so it made a lot of sense. So we went in and checked out the studio, and that's the one we decided on using. And I booked out 3 days to lay down the basic tracks for 9 songs. You got to feel each other out and find where each other's groove is and find how you lock in with each song. So basically all I was doing were scratch vocals, not to be used in the final mix of the record. Oh, that's great. That's exactly what I wanted.
Okay.
That's all I wanted. So I was singing and leading and producing at the same time, and that is where the challenge was for me. I've been a band leader for so long that singing and then running the band on the gig is something that I've been doing for long enough that I thought, well, this should be kind of similar. And I learned areas that it was, and I learned areas where it wasn't. So that was a real challenge. I felt very focused all 3 days. All of my gray matter was kind of taken up in every area. I was organizing the sessions. I was having to make sure that the takes were the ones we wanted. If things were, maybe one take went a little bit off the rails, I'd have to go in and say, okay, what do we need to adjust here? So all those hats had to be on every day. That was the part that was challenging. I was more overloaded than I thought I would be. The thing you don't know till you're there. I don't think I slept. When I would get home at like 10 or 11, I would try to wind down, but the sleep was very on the surface because my head was just spinning with what to think about with the songs next day, or maybe we should remember to recut that part of whatever we did the day before of that day. So I hardly slept. It was like I was on for 3 days, 24/7. It's funny what adrenaline will do, because I managed to feel okay during the sessions, but I was definitely in a heightened state, shall we say. It was very intense for me. But we found the groove of each song. Myron Dove said something really poignant, I thought, that I still take with me to this day. That every song has its heartbeat. But when you take a song straight from your head into the studio, you have to find that organic chemistry there. And I think just recently I actually heard an interview with James Taylor, who said that very thing, is when you haven't had the chance to put that song on wheels, put that song on its feet in front of people, really finding that chemistry in the studio is the challenge. And finding the heartbeat of those songs in that setting, that was what I learned. That was Anna's music school, studio music school 101 in this one. We had to work on that with every song. We had to say, okay, where's the heartbeat? Where are we going to feel it here today? And where's the juice, the inspirational, improvisational juice that just comes as we're performing it live that day. Got to capture those moments too. But the guys were great. How lovely to have men who are so accomplished, so great to work with, such a good attitude, so good with each other. That was a real gift. So we all just kind of band together as a little team to find where each of the songs were going to go. So I also had to sort of have my clipboard and organize the sessions so that we made sure that we were able to recut or punch anything that maybe anyone in the rhythm section felt that they wanted to punch. That's what me as a manager, producer hat, had to make sure I was budgeting time for as well. And I also got an opportunity to throw in my harmonica, which some of you may know I play in a band called Zepparella, all-female Led Zeppelin band, and I play harmonica in that band. And so I wanted to throw that down with this record as well. So we didn't do that when we were at Laughing Tiger, but I did that when I was in Dave Weeks' studio. I think it was the first take of my harmonica solo that we wound up taking. Sometimes those first takes are just kind of reckless and unbridled. And if they're not so unbridled that they fall off the rails, sometimes they're usable. And in this particular situation, it was. So I just was very relaxed, and I said, I'm just gonna play it as I feel it. And that's the one we wound up taking. So vocal takes, not so much. Vocal takes I'm super nitpicky on, and those took a little bit more time. And I'm also doing all of the background vocals for the whole record. And you know, you got to be careful because you can really go down the rabbit hole when you're in the studio. Like, let's put on this vocal and this layer and this layer and this layer. And I did that on a few. And it's a little bit tougher to replicate live than when you do that, but it sure was fun because I love harmonizing with myself and stacking vocals that way. We did that on Leap of Faith and on Rose and on Slipping. And then the other person that I got to pull in who wasn't in the Laughing Tiger sessions, but we pulled into Dave's studio later, was my good friend and supremely talented cat Mr. Tom Politzer, who tours with Tower of Power on lead tenor saxophone. One of my songs that goes into the jazzier direction, and that is a song called Slipping. So I chose to really feature Tom on that one, and he did a beautiful solo on that song. This really is just a glimpse into what that process was like to me, and I'm really happy that we got to document it because it was such an important part of my musical journey. Like I said before, to take on something where you feel kind of in over your head kind of the whole time is really overwhelming, but it's such a learning experience to be on that razor's edge the whole time. So much that I learned from it that when I go back in to do another one, I can take everything that I learned from this experience, and I would have never known it. You can read about it, you can watch other people do it, you can hear about it, you can study it, but you do not know until you go. That's what I say to myself a lot. You just don't know until you go.
Have I told you how you make me smile, how you make me sing, and all the joy you bring? Have I told you, have I found a way to say how you blow my clouds away, turn my winter into May, just to see you, the gentlest